Well, can the LCMS still walk together? Truly. I'm not asking that to stir the pot. I'm asking because lately it feels like the people who most want to bring us together are the very ones being pushed away. Have we reached the point of no return? We say we're a synod, a church body that walks together, but lately it feels like we're limping apart. We're in a lawsuit with one of our former universities. We avoid one another. We talk about each other instead to each other. And when someone tries to bring people together, even that gets criticized. And so the question I want to ask today is simple but serious. Can we still walk together in the future? So welcome back to Voices of the LCMS, where we are diving into real data that have heard from real voices of leaders in our synod. We're doing these videos not to divide us further, but to help us understand what it means to walk together and how we can walk stronger together in the future. In the State of the LCMS survey, frustration ranked as the number one emotion among its leaders. But frustration alone doesn't explain the silence and the suspicion and separation we're seeing now. In addition to this, one of the top urgent challenges voted upon by 1,054 Lutheran leaders was division and disagreement within the church. It is enough to face the challenges that come outside of our church, but inside our church body, man, something is off. And so let me call it out. Here it is. We don't know how to argue, disagree, or have conflict well, and it's unhealthy. When I started this series, I wanted to ask hard questions with you, not at you. But what's become painfully clear is that in our church body, we've lost the ability and the skill to deal with conflict well. I've tried my best to be winsome and to create conversations where multiple perspectives could come together. But more often than not, even those attempts are perceived poorly. And rather than emailing or scheduling a time to talk, people just don't. Instead, they post. And to give you a glimpse of what I mean, here's just a few of the real comments I've received. One person said, "You are the problem. You give me mega church TV preacher vibes. You obviously don't like the LCMS, so why don't you go to the ELCA where you can just do whatever you want?" He then accused me of being one step away from saying the Sparkle Creed in my church. Really? Come on. Another said, "Won't you just leave already?" And then before I even began these videos, just for sending out the survey, someone wrote, "I think there needs to be a clear break in Synod. There are two spirits. One is biblical and confessional Lutheranism, and the other is evangelical wannabes like Zender Allman and others like them." To be fair, some who criticize are doing so, I actually think all are doing so out of love for this church. They're trying to protect what they hold dear, and I get that. But I would love to talk to those who see things differently. Just letting all of this conflict hang in the air is a recipe for disaster. My email is hello@redletterchallenge.com. But so far, when I reach out to people with a different or unique perspective, they rarely take me up on the invitation. And for those watching and thinking he's so one-sided, Allman's so one-sided, they just bring on people who agree with them. First off, that's not true. But secondly, in the last 5 months of me doing this, while I still have my own day job in ministry and family, I remind you, the people from the, quote, other side, by and large, just aren't willing to talk. Is it possible they aren't willing because they don't perceive me to be safe? Yeah, I understand that some may hesitate because they've been hurt too, and that pain matters. But what I'm saying is a high percentage of these people are not even willing to talk one-on-one. Rather than that, they just desire that me and people like me, they just jump to, "Won't you just leave?" How dare we talk about or bring up issues that are challenging, where we might actually be able to do better? How dare we innovate or try to bring something new that might reach our younger generations and form future leaders stronger? These are our motives. We want to be better together, and I get it. Sometimes people don't know what to do with disagreement, and it's easier to push away than press in. It's easier to just go with the status quo and not change. But when we chose to walk together, we chose to talk together. When we are one, if we are one, guess what? You don't just get to say, "Leave." When you're married, you're married. You don't get to just leave. You talk, you argue, you deal with conflict. And my question is, can we, as the leaders in the LCMS, do this? Can we model this? Because here's the irony. We are a denomination that confesses the power of reconciliation every single Sunday. We preach forgiveness from pulpits that sometimes don't model it in practice. We pride ourselves on our theology, yet we don't want to even talk with one another. Instead, we stay siloed. We're divided over worship. We're divided over seminaries. And now, heartbreakingly, we're in court with one of our own institutions, ones that shaped generations of Lutheran leaders. These are not just headlines. These are warning lights on the dashboard. If the church cannot handle conflict with grace, what hope do we have of showing the world reconciliation in Jesus? Why would anyone from the outside want to be a part of that? Now, I'm not naive. Some relationships may be too damaged to restore overnight, but I am holding firmly to the belief that the LCMS is not past the point of no return. The same gospel that unites sinners to Christ can still unite brothers and sisters to one another, but it will not happen by accident. Here's what we've got to do. 3 things. Number 1, we've got to talk to one another, like really talk. We can't heal what we refuse to address or what we avoid. Pick up the phone, schedule a meeting, and listen more than you speak, which goes to number 2. Go in with a posture to learn something new. You and I don't have to walk out of a room believing the very same thing about pastoral formation and the most effective ways to do it. But I know I'll be able to learn something new from you, and you might even be able to learn something new from me. And number 3, let grace set the tone. Even when we disagree, especially when we disagree, grace has got to lead the way. As Paul says in Romans 12:18, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. And so I know sometimes it doesn't depend on you and it's not possible, but that does not mean you stop trying or you stop leading the way with grace. I think if you'd like to see a good example of this, check out my interview with Professor Joel Bierman from my podcast earlier this week. In the podcast, he and I, we agree on many things, but not all things. Yet he closed by saying this: Zach, keep dialoguing. You're on the right track. You're using technology to keep dialoguing. When you have a problem with someone else, if you aren't going to talk to them about the problem, then you have nothing to say to anyone else either. Keep dialoguing across all the channels. Keep it going. And that's the spirit we need. Not avoidance, not accusation, but honest conversation across the table, across the synod, across our differences in private and in public. And if you are looking for just one more place where I'm hoping real results and great dialogue to better understand one another in the times we're living in, that's why I'm excited to attend the Koinonia project happening in Las Vegas through the LCMS Pacific Southwest District, where in January we will be talking about pastoral formation. I want to be real with you. This whole project, Voices of the LCMS, wasn't something I intended to do, but it was born from hope. Hope that we could have conversations again. Hope that we could look at data together and ask, what does this mean for us? Hope that by naming our challenges, we might rediscover our shared mission and even find some great solutions. But if we can't even talk or get in the same room to talk, well, then I'm not sure how best to walk. And if we can't walk together, then we can't synod. Jesus said in John 13, verse 35, by this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. If we cannot love one another well as the leaders of our church body, how can we expect the world to believe us when we preach love? And so I'll ask again, can we talk together so that we can walk together? Because if we can't talk, if we can't learn to disagree, to forgive, then each of us need to do a hard look at the scriptures and confessions and practice the great theology we claim that we have. So maybe this week, instead of talking about someone, you could talk to them. Maybe the first step back toward walking together is as simple and as difficult as sending that email and scheduling that coffee or picking up that phone and leading with grace. Maybe it's showing up and registering in person, like at the Koinonia event in Las Vegas this January. Thanks for watching Voices of the LCMS. If you care about this conversation, if you still believe there's hope for us to walk together, would you share this video, not to win an argument, but hopefully to reopen a dialogue? Because the future of our synod tomorrow depends on how well we talk to each other today. And as always, you can explore all the data from that State of the LCMS survey. We've got it for free for you at lcmsdata.com. I will see you next week for another episode of Voices of the LCMS. If you have not already, will you hit that subscribe button? About 75% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, and it would be awesome if you just click that. It only takes a second, and we'll see you back next week. God bless.